Balancing in a heavily skill-based game like Counter-Strike is really difficult, especially since there's such a big disparity in skill. But it also means that there's going to be some guns that are a bit overpowered in certain ranks, so I think it's time we start abusing them. What's up, ProGuides fam? I'm Kangas, and today I'm talking about broken guns. And more specifically, I'm giving you a broken gun for each rank and a short guide on how to use them. So hit that sub button, and let's get into it.
The first rank we have to talk about is, of course, the silver ranks. They're the rank where basically everyone starts out and hopefully everyone climbs out of, perhaps by using this broken gun. That gun being the R8 revolver. Yeah, I know, even though the gun is considered to be a complete and total meme in the higher ranks, it's actually pretty viable, at least in the lower ranks of the game. The reason it's not considered to be a good gun in the higher ranks mostly has to do with the fact that it has to compete with a deagle. No one is arguing against the ability to two-shot somebody in the body at any range, and that for a small price of $600. But since it has to charge up time, it simply cannot compete with the amazing instant headshot potential of the Desert Eagle. What you have to understand about high ranks is that there's a lot less mistakes, and because of that, the windows of opportunity are a lot smaller, meaning that charge up time essentially makes the whole gun useless, or at least extremely gimmicky when compared to its big brother, the deagle. That being said, that's not at all the case in low ranks. In those ranks, people simply make more mistakes, and also the mechanics tend to be quite a bit worse. All of that means that the charge up time is not that big of a deal anymore, and its two-shot ability in the body also becomes exponentially stronger. So that begs the question, how does one use it? Well, actually that's kind of simple. All you have to do is make sure that you're abusing its immense accuracy and insane damage. That means you should pretty much play it like you would a scout, except perhaps a bit more aggressive. After all, when you compare the two guns, they're pretty similar, except you're only paying $600 for the R8. A place where I've seen the gun be really effective, for example, is mid on Mirage, but honestly any long angle will do. If you want to peek CT from ramp on the same map, for example, perfect, that works too. Or if you want to do the opposite and hold ramp from CT or triple, same thing applies. Even angles like long on Overpass, banana on Inferno, or outside on Nuke are all great to abuse its characteristics. Just make sure that when you're playing there, you're always doing the unpeak repeak style, as if you're not, you're really going to end up exposing yourself for long durations of time where you won't be able to fire back whatsoever. Alright, so now we covered the fun gun in the lowest rank, let's move on to the Negev in Gold Nova. Contrary to the R8, the Negev is not considered a troll gun because of the fact that there's better options, but rather because of its history. The truth is that it used to be the most expensive gun in the game, but it wasn't exactly the strongest, not even by a long shot. Back then, you'd only buy it like you'd buy an M249 now. So never, or well, if you were up 13-0, and even then it was still considered a meme gun. Since then, the gun has been buffed numerous times though. The price was reduced by a whopping $4,000, and it even started getting a more clear purpose through all kinds of balancing. Regardless of all these buffs though, people never really seem to adopt the weapon quite like Valve intended. The reason that's great is because that means that people never quite found out how to use it, and it's probably quite a bit stronger than it should be. So you ask, how do I use it, and what is the purpose that it fulfills? Well, actually the gun is really great for suppressing pushes and also denying trades. If your opponents are constantly smoking everything off and love doing executes, for example, all you need is a well-placed Negev spray and you should find yourself either getting 2 frags or just straight up denying the push. Either outcome being one that we'll take. Plus, on top of that, you will straight up be tilting your opponents, which, hey, that's always a plus. Another way that you could use the Negev, though, is by simply playing close. Its greatest weakness is that it's not very accurate when you first start firing, and by playing close, that big weakness is instantly negated. Pop Dog on CT side train is probably the best example of an overpowered Negev spot, but you can also think of spots like Wood and Monster on Overpass or even close ramp on Mirage. As long as you're sufficiently close to your opponents, it'll be fairly easy to land the first few shots, and as long as you continue firing afterwards, your opponents can pretty much forget about getting a trade. Well, that or they die. All that makes it a pretty annoying and strong weapon to play against. Before we continue to the higher ranks, we got our question of the day. Today's question is, what do you personally think is the most broken gun in Counter-Strike at the moment? I'll go over my personal ones later on in the video, but I'm curious what you think, so let me know in the comments down below. Alright, so another simply broken gun, especially in the Master Guardian ranks, is the Scar 20, also known as the Auto Sniper. The gun isn't used very much at the highest levels of play, because in those ranks the op is just considered straight better. The reason for that though is, again, because the time to kill there is a lot lower, and if you don't hit that first op shot, like you're expected to consistently do there, you're gonna be dead anyway, since that AK on the other side is already gonna have one-shot you. But as you've probably already come to expect, that's not really the case anywhere but the highest ranks, meaning that in Master Guardian and below, using the Auto Sniper is going to be a lot easier, rewarding, and also more tilting for your opponents. The truth is that the Auto Sniper is simply so extremely easy to use that even lots of silvers call its users auto noobs. And if that isn't a sign that you should start abusing it, well, I don't know what to tell you. Alright, so how does one use it? Again, it's kinda simple. You basically just play it like an op, except now you have just a whole lot more freedom. Because it's not an op. You can play a lot more aggressive and risky as well. With the op, the biggest problem is getting flashed or overrun, but since you're using the auto noob, you don't have to worry about any of those things. Getting overrun just means that you're gonna get an ace, and getting flashed barely matters because you can just spam your gun during the duration. Sure, you're not invincible doing it, but it's a lot more effective than guessing the timing with an op. Alright, moving up to the Eagle ranks, the most broken gun has gotta be the XM1014. It's extremely strong in any rank, but in the Eagle ranks, people start to expect you to play a certain way, and using shotguns highly deviates from that playstyle, which makes it even stronger. There's actually not a lot to talk about when it comes to the XM. It's just a great all-around shotgun, and it even has full auto. It's also got a lot longer range than most people expect, adding even more onto what's already a great surprise factor. Of course, it is a shotgun and should be played as such, but it's definitely extremely underrated, especially by those in the higher ranks. If you're not an active XM abuser yet, give it a go and leave a comment down below on how it treated you. I'm sure that you'll enjoy using it. Before you do that though, maybe hop into some deathmatch or aimbots just to experiment with the range, because that's the most important part, and you can probably get away with a lot more than you were expecting. Alright, now for the gun that's broken in Supreme, well, we've already mentioned it, but it's definitely something you should consider using if you're in that rank, and that is of course the op. The op is undoubtedly the strongest gun in the whole entire game. All the top players are oppers, and almost every star player on each and every pro team is also an opper, or at least knows how to use it. The gun is not only very strong in pro play though, it's in fact even stronger in matchmaking and pugs. The op is even in the professional scene considered to be the gun to punish mistakes and dry peaks. And since pugs and matchmaking is almost exclusively that, it's pretty damn overpowered, at least if you can hit the shots. The reason that I put the op here in Supreme is because that's usually the rank when people really start developing solid aim and mechanical fundamentals such as peeking and crosshair placement. And since the op is only good if you have those down, that's where it begins to shine. Unlike the previous guns, the op only becomes better as you go up the ranks and develop your mechanics more and more. But as soon as you get to Supreme, you really need to start abusing it. If you're in Supreme and you don't know how to use the op yet, you're honestly just screwing yourself over as you can't use the best gun in the game. Seriously though, trust me when I say that not knowing how to use the op, you're missing out on a lot of carry potential. If you struggle with opping and you just can't seem to figure it out, you should consider asking advice from the best in the form of our simple master course, where he, among other things, explains what secret techniques he uses in order to play with the gun just like he does. So if you're interested, you can check it out on our website. Alright, and it's that time for the final rank, Global Elite. For the globals out there, the gun that you need to start abusing if you aren't already, which let's be honest, you probably are, is the MP9. The gun is just so insanely good for what you pay for it, and it can honestly be used on literally any round. Forced to half buy an MP9. Can't afford nades plus an M4? Well, buy an MP9. Feel like you can't aim and just want to run and gun? Well, you're in luck, buy an MP9. The MP9 is just always the answer, no exceptions. Oh, okay, maybe some exceptions. It's not all that great for long ranges, although even there it is a lot better than the other SMGs. The MP9 is just a great gun all around, especially for its price, and quite literally its only weak point, considering it's an SMG, is that it's kind of hard to control, and that is why it's here. If you're a skilled enough player so that you can control the spray of the gun, there's basically no buzz, it's just broken. But if you're not, and you end up missing half your shots, the gun is instantly a lot less effective. If you're not already using the MP9, I'd highly recommend that you start practicing and abusing it now. But just make sure that you're using it right. So let's quickly go over how to use it well. The MP9, like any other SMG, should be used up close as much as possible. But since the MP9 actually has really solid range, it doesn't really suffer from medium distance. The gun also is simply insane at running and gunning, so don't be afraid to do that either. Oh, and for some reason, it also has great jumping accuracy, so if you're feeling extra quirky, maybe add a few jump shots here and there. In Counter-Strike, there's just nothing quite like outskilling somebody with a nice little jump shot, so make sure to do that as much as humanly possible to tilt the living hell out of your opponents. Look, no matter what rank you find yourself in today, there is a gun that you can utilize for some easy wins. And if you learned any new ones today, or just liked hearing my voice, make sure to leave a like on the video and sub to the channel. We're pretty close to 100K subs, and we can't get there without your help. And hey, since help goes both ways, I'll give you a tip too. We also got a website that you can check out with coaches and courses by actual pro players who know way more than I do about the game. So if you're serious about improving, go check it out. Anyway, that's it for today. So best of luck on the grind, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.